Are we live?
We are live.
uh, uh,
All right. Hey, everybody.
what up? What
Welcome,
up?
welcome, welcome to Photography and Friends
Muted.
Live. 2023. All right. We are streaming. This is a brand new experiment. We are streaming on YouTube, and let us know in the chat where you're listening in from. We are going to be paying attention to the chat mostly on the Photography and Friends YouTube channel. And you can go to that link that's right here if you're over on Facebook or mine or Will's channel. But we just wanted to make sure as many people as possible can join the stream. So, Will, Sam, what's up? Welcome to 2023. How's it going?
It's
We
so
made
good.
it.
We made it.
This
Here,
year's this
here.
year's already just going real strong, and
Yeah.
yeah, lots happening already. Very excited to be here back with all of you and talking about photo stuff and all the big plans we have for this year. Yeah,
Yeah.
very excited. Very
Wow,
excited.
lots of people coming in.
All over the
Let
world.
us
Look at
know,
that.
yeah, where you're coming in from. As always, we love hearing where we got Ian from Plymouth in the UK, Kevin from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. What's up, Fabiola in Atlanta, Georgia. Bob, what's up, Bob? Good to see you from Fort Worth. Alberta, Canada in the house. Joanne,
Wow.
thank you for being here. Oh, and look at James
James
April in the house.
April.
James.
Hey. You're just down the street there, buddy.
James was one of our classmates in college. Happy to have you here. As always, Morocco in the house. Ryan from Baltimore. Wow. Okay. Well,
This is a lot,
yeah, this
by
is
the way, because
awesome.
I'm monitoring. We're on Facebook. We're on your channel. We're on my channel. We're on the Photo and Friends channel. We're streaming in 4 places basically at this point, right?
Yes, yes.
Amazing. Technology is wild.
We are just, yeah, we're going to be going through, we're just going to wait one more minute till more people can arrive, but we're going to be doing lots of fun stuff today. Let us know. Anyone getting new gear for the holidays? Anyone have a new camera, lens,
Camera. They're learning.
anything?
Yeah. Sam got a bunch of new stuff.
I got a new camera. Very excited. Which yeah, it's one of those cameras that's I've just like kind of it's just a joy. It's just like really next level. It's a medium format digital Hasselblad X2D, and it's just like it's different. It's so different from cameras I've had in the past, but it's also just the imagery and what I'm able to do with it is just like yeah, it's next level. I'm very excited. Very excited for this year. Have a bunch of trips shaping up to be out in the world with it, going to Nepal, going to Micronesia with it, and just yeah, very excited.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And we'll remind everyone who is new here or hasn't been with us, what camera are you currently using for photography?
Oh my gosh, for photography, my main camera is a Leica SL2S as like my main A camera, and then I follow that up with a Q2 as like my secondary camera. And then for Christmas, I actually met a guy in November, and I bought his 1994 Hasselblad 503 CX that shoots 120 film that I'm obsessed with right now.
Was you were doing some portraiture with that?
Yeah.
I was
So
seeing on
I
Instagram.
hooked it up. I hooked it up to my Godex. I'm making a YouTube video about it. So if you're on my channel, you know it. I will be hopefully posting that in the next few weeks. But I hooked it up to my Godex 200 and I borrowed a digital back for it,
Mm-hmm.
and was shooting some portraits with this black background I have behind me. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to be using like an analog camera from 1994 with a strobe from like 2019, and how they're all still work together.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
cool.
flipping amazing. Yeah, but it's all still the basics of photography. It's
Yeah,
just it's a different box with a hole. That's it.
yeah,
So
that's
Yeah.
cool. Well, a lot of people getting some new stuff. Becky got a Canon 6D refurbished, huge upgrade for
nice.
her. That's awesome. Elena is shooting on Canon.
So
Shubham
many
is
new lenses.
getting a Canon 5D. Awesome. Josh, hey, what's up? Lots of lenses, new tripod, Tenba backpack. That's always good to build out your kit.
Oh yeah.
Shutterbug Denise. Well, yeah, we're going to get right into it, but thank you all for being here. We will be answering all your questions as much as possible. Hit that like button right now. That's going to let more people know that we are live
On all the
and you're
channels.
enjoying it. And yeah, let's get into it. So, if this is your first live, let us know in the chat if this is your first live. If this is your 10th live, let us know if it's your 10th live. We want to know our, who's
This is
committed.
my 80th live.
Yeah. All right. So today the schedule is to go over the mobile photography contest winners. We did that in November and December. Talk about challenges, weekly challenges that are going to be back. We've got another fun, exciting, huge announcement, and then we'll be getting to the Q&A. So if you guys are ready, we're going to just get right into the mobile only photography contest winners. So last year, and it looks like some of you, it's your first live. Ryan, what's up? Shubham, what's up? Ernie, Becky, Laura Kalinsky, first live, maybe. Fabiola, Shutterbug Denise, third live. Awesome. Well, lots of new users here. So last year we were doing contests every other month. We always like doing contests, and we're going to be changing it up this year. But the last one was this mobile only photography contest, only on your smartphone or whatever, tablets, Palm Pilots, whatever you can shoot on. And we're going to get into the prizes. So without further ado, drum roll for the bronze prize.
I can't do
goes to
drum rolls.
Robert Waters with this photo here. Let me get rid of this chat so you can see. This is a pretty awesome wide landscape or wide panoramic kind of style shot. Super widescreen crop. Very cool lighting, and yeah, this is awesome photo, Robert.
This is one of those ones where, I mean, it's on mobile, but like having that car there too. It's a beautiful sunset, nice landscape, but having that car in there with those lights coming at us, like, I really like this photo just because it had, it had a lot going on, as beautiful colors, but also had this like almost filmic scene to it, sort of that, that wider crop, and then this, this car coming out. So yeah, I really like this one.
I love it. I wonder, is it sunrise or sunset? Did you say?
I'm not sure. No,
it's just got that like. I really like a sunrise, even though it's got the fog and the I don't know. I don't know. I just love all the leading lines that are just going straight, keeps your eyes straight down into the frame with the road and the, what do you call those? Power lines. Yeah, power lines. And even with like everything sticking up, it's really well composed, and the crop lends itself to that. Which I really, really enjoyed.
Cool.
And I'm sure this is edited to some degree. I mean, maybe it's not. Who knows if the colors are natural? But I photography, you edit your photos. I mean, that's, if you're adjusting colors, contrast, saturation, like that's what I think a lot of people do. It's yeah, I don't know. I think that's part of the process. So, or maybe it was just a really radiant sunrise.
Yeah, sure.
All right, well, Robert, congrats to Robert and all the winners today. Send me a message on Facebook. I'll be reaching out through Facebook messages to let you know how to get your prize. So drum roll for our silver prize winner, who is Sakshi Nijai, with this super cool photo.
So cool.
And I'm not sure where this is, Sakshi. If you're live, let us know. I always do a Google image search for all the photos to make sure that they're your own photos. And I looked this up, and of course it's their own photo, but there's like this location. I don't know where it is with this frame or something, and these sunsets in the ocean. It's like really cool. But the idea of framing this person with an umbrella, like really, really cool. And a photo that with a mobile camera, it's amazing. Yeah, it doesn't need to be a $5,000 camera to get this amazing shot.
Yeah, and you don't see the 1,000 people to the left and right waiting for their turn to get the same, use the
Yeah,
same frame. Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, really cool concept, and you know, it's also kind of amazing. You can see the shadow of the person like in the ripply part of the water,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
sort of how it, like, I don't know, just how it frames in that way is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
I
you
might have
can,
cropped in just a tiny bit on the right side. I feel like it's not perfectly
mm,
centered, but
yeah,
minor
yeah, yeah.
critique.
Great job, great job.
All right.
It's also one of those
Oh,
things
go
real
ahead.
quick with photography, like 80-90% of it is like just being in the right spot at the right time too. And then applying your knowledge to that time that you're at. So
Hmm.
clearly like get yourself there, get out to take the photo and then, apply your knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then drum roll for our gold prize winner, which the way we pick these, Sam, Will, and I, we all rank our top photos, and usually we have drastically different opinions about who our favorite photos are. But this time, Will and I picked the exact same photo as our
That's
top
very odd
photo,
for you and I.
which
Yeah.
is this photo from Jules Tree. Congratulations. Um,
Boom.
very cool, just very cool photo. Very similar, I think, in terms of composition as that last one and everything, but the location, the textures, the sky, there's not really leading lines, but like it just your eyes drawn to like that center and this, I don't know what, snow walking, ice walking, or something, whatever that
Snowshoeing.
was. Yeah, snowshoeing.
Well, and this is a great example too of, I think traveling out here with a big photo rig might be a whole thing and much more of an
Mm,
operation. This is a great
yes.
example of like mobile photography is in your pocket. You're out in this cold tundra and just click, put it back
Yes.
in. Like it's a great example of that. And that, yeah, if you set up, silhouetting your subject, the sun's low in this, in the horizon. Yeah, it's a
I
really
think I
cool
was like
image.
taking that into account. At least with this one, I thought the same exact thought. I thought this is a great, yeah, smartphone, mobile phone photo because, yeah, you wouldn't want to necessarily drag your gear out there.
Yeah,
So a perfect
yeah.
case study
Oh,
of
did it
why.
say what phone it was?
I'm not sure, but
It's just that super wide looks so cool. And
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
don't ever be afraid to use that, even if it's like a big
Oh yeah.
area. Yeah.
I find, as Will and Sam know, I'm not always updating my phone. I had the iPhone 10, which was like a huge upgrade for me, like couple years ago, but that gave out, so I upgraded to the iPhone 13 mini,
Oh yeah, that's what I have.
which has the wide angle lens, which is, I
Yeah, it's
love
great,
that
right?
thing. That thing, so you can get so creative with that, and
Yeah.
total game changer. I was like considering just going all the way to the 14 Pro or something like that, but I was like, I don't really even need that telephoto lens. Like I never really zoom in or want that for my phone. So yeah, this
Man, Phil
was
and I have the
good.
same phone. I'm
You have a
fangirling right
13
now.
mini?
Yeah, dude, right here.
Dude,
13 mini.
bros.
Little
Bros
guy.
for life. Nice.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys later.
Bye,
Just gonna.
Sam. All right. Well, congrats to everyone, and thank you for participating in that. And everyone, give a like on the video
Like,
for all of our photographers, and thank you to everyone who participated. There's so many great photos out there. You're all amazing and inspiring.
yeah, so
So,
many good ones.
speaking of, I'm just going to run through a few more of our favorites, just shout outs for some other amazing photos. This one, I can't believe this was a mobile photo. This is crazy. But
Yeah, I mean they have those mobile phones that have the
yeah,
macro mode now.
yeah.
It's wild.
And
It's
I'm
And I
also
will say
like,
with
did
like
I make
all
a
of the
mistake and include this one from a previous contest? Chris, if you're here, confirm, was this with a smartphone or not? But yeah, they do make those lenses. I've never played around
yeah.
with those lenses. Like,
Well, no, now they have like macro mode
oh,
on
okay,
certain
yeah,
phones. where you
Yeah.
can get shots like
I
this.
think that this is my bad. This was from the macro contest last 2 months ago. I was
Oh,
like, there's no way this
well,
is the mobile phone contest. I remember this from a couple months ago. All right, sorry
Good to
about
check.
that. These were definitely from it. Christine
yeah, yeah.
McPhee, Hitik, very cool photos. This was a pretty cool shot. This one on the left,
Yeah.
the lighting and stuff, kind of macro. Judy, really cool
And with
storytelling.
all these, like the biggest thing with mobile photography is like I feel like all these people really paid attention to lighting. Like there is still contrast there, but it's not like the sky's completely blown out or it's really harsh lighting. Like they're choosing times of day or choosing situations where the phone can handle the dynamic range in those situations. And
Yeah.
like you don't know that they're not taken with a professional camera, which is
Yeah.
uh, the most amazing thing of mobile photography these days.
Yeah, totally. Here's a couple. The one on the left was one of my favorites. I just like these little detail moments around
I love that
town.
moment with the water. Yeah.
And then, yeah,
Yeah.
that black and white with the water is like awesome. Awesome snap. So, with that being said, we have polled members semi frequently, and we heard from a lot of people continuously that they love the weekly challenges. And if you were a member of Photography and Friends a couple years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago now, we were doing weekly challenges where we were posting to just every week something inspiring to go capture. Here's an example, which is our very first weekly live or weekly challenge that's back. So this week,
It's back.
it's a little bit early, but for next week, you can start today. It's patterns. So it might be a composition technique, it might be a subject matter or something like that. But hopefully it's just a way to inspire you to get out there and practice your photography. So we'll be announcing these in the Facebook group, on the Video School online Instagram channel. So you can find out about them there. But something exciting and new, and you could do this on your own for fun. You could just keep your photos, but if you want to share them with us, something that's new is that we want you to post to the Photography and Friends Plus community. And if you've been a member for the past year, you know that was a private community. You had to pay to access it, which brings us to our big announcement today, which is the Plus community is now open and free for everyone.
Hey.
So we've had a great, since April or May, we've had a great time with our private members. It's been an awesome experience. And it was so awesome that we wanted to bring it to more people. And so we still have the Facebook group. That's a great place to be a part of our community. But we also realized that the Plus community that we built is really awesome because it has like a lot more capability to have organized discussions and spaces and events and things like that. And Facebook is just one long stream, which is hard to find things. And so we'll still be supporting the Facebook group. That's not going. If you want to stay on Facebook, that's totally fine. But it's free now to join. So it's not a requirement as a student at all. It's just if you want extra support. And also we will be having the challenges posted there. So weekly challenges will post, and that's where we will be doing, be critiquing photos, and you can see other people post it. Laura Kalinsky, who's watching right now, she's a member of the Plus group. She can attest that it's an amazing little community.
That it's awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said here, organized spaces, the weekly challenges, and we're going to be doing weekly live sessions. So that's huge news, is that we used to do once a month, or the past year it's been like every other month, a live stream for the community. We are going to be trying to do weekly live office hours, Q&A, photo critiques like we're doing today every week. And it's going to be on YouTube, so anyone can watch it. But if you want to be have RSVPs and get notified of it, go to Plus and join there.
It's just
And
all in
also,
one spot.
yeah, I'd like, just if you're part of the Facebook group, I highly recommend like go log in, check it out. There's curated groups. It's just a much more focused in what we want to do, opposed to just the Facebook platform and how it's all structured on there. So it's kind of like we can customize it towards photography and talking about gear, talking about, you know, photo critiques, talking about all these different things. And it's just, we've learned that it's a lot easier of a space to build this community and have these conversations. And we've done it now with the Plus community. We figured out sort of how to flow with it, how to engage with people. And yeah, and now we're just excited to open it up to everyone.
Yep. So here you can see what it looks like. We've got organized spaces for our live sessions. So you can see coming up every week, we've got things scheduled out. We've got the community spaces where you can, you know, more organized and get better support with posting your photos for critiques, posting questions about any photography business related stuff, gear questions. It's all organized, and I think so much better. So
very engineering brainy for us.
yeah, so go. It's live, open right now. Right now, anybody can look at this and see what it's like. So it's just kind of open to look at. You can't comment or post or anything if you're not a member. Coming up soon, we're going to make it private again. I just opened it up for people who are watching today and want to like see what it's like. But so in the future, you're not going to even be able to see this stuff if you're not a member. So go ahead and join, free, no strings
Or you can join for free
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's like the photo challenge.
It's keeping the same sort of Facebook mentality of, you know, this is a space to learn, to give constructive criticism, to be part of this sort of photo and friends community. So, you know, we're still keeping in line with, it's a space for everyone, whether you're advanced, whether you're beginner. It's really just if you want to, you know, continue to have these conversations and be a part of it. And then, like Phil said, all of the, you know, photo challenges and our live streams, it's all going to be posted through there. So you're just able to get, you know, access to that stuff and sort of engage with us more than before. So yeah.
I'd say it's easier. It's easier for us to target to look at photo critiques, to look at, you know, specifically talk about gear and like just an organizational way. And then I think, Phil, we're gonna do the photo critiques. We're gonna probably bring those up, right? Or sorry, are you getting to that?
The plan is every week we're going to pull photo. We'll do Q&A, so office hour Q&A for any questions. But we're also going to pull the previous week's challenge up and actually do critiques. So
go through the photos, yeah.
So this is, you know, we have so many students now that we're trying to figure out how we can support as many people as possible, and this is probably the best place to get, you know, critiques on your actual photography, and I know people want that, and so that's what it is, and it's all completely free, no strings attached whatsoever. I will mention there's an option if you want to become a Plus supporter. It is $5 a month, and you get access to a private space where if we get so many people in the normal spaces, this is going to be like the place where we focus our support. But that's just completely, it's more of just a, hey, we're a fan of you, we want to support you, help you pay for the platform, support you doing the weekly live streams and everything like that. Absolutely not a requirement. This is just a minor thing if you're interested, but everything else free access now. And let me bring up that it's just photographyandfriends.com/plus, and you can join.
I think I posted the link a couple times, but cool. It's worth a repost.
And I see people already joining, which is awesome. So
all right,
with that, I think it's time to head over to just do some Q&A. Thank you everyone for being here, so patient. If you have questions,
there was one question in there now already, actually. Yeah.
There are so many chat windows open right now. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Shubham Jane asked, I have a query. Is it good to shoot with APS-C or full frame? If you can explain the major difference, would be appreciated. Also, I'm looking to buy a 5D Mark IV or any other camera to buy. So I guess, is there benefit crop versus full frame? Age old question.
Who's gonna answer it?
This is gonna be another great thing about Plus, because the community, what we're hoping to use a space for is a FAQ, frequently asked questions space, because some of these questions we get all the time, and we're happy to answer them. But we definitely want to have these questions answered for beginners who are getting into it. So that's something we'll be building out as well. But full frame versus crop sensor. I mean, basically the difference is, or for someone looking to get into it, is crop sensor is cheaper, right? You can get a APS-C camera for cheaper. The lenses are going to be cheaper. I have used, it's behind me, a Fuji X-T4 and X-T2, and that's crop sensor. I love it. I have not had any problems with it. Are there times where I feel like it holds me back? There's been a couple times where I feel like the resolution, I wish it could be a little higher. That being said, the new X-T5 on that line has a 40 megapixel sensor versus mine, which is 26. And so I just took a photo of a hummingbird the other day. I posted on my Instagram, and I'll try to bring that up. But this was like a clear example of like, yeah, I wish I had a few more pixels in there so I could boost the resolution, crop in a little bit more. But what are the other benefits of full frame?
Well, APS-C is typically smaller, so it's typically going to, your lenses and all those things are going to be more compact, which if you're traveling and stuff is nice to have. Full frame, I think the biggest thing is that you get more light coming in. So typically for low light situations, it's going to perform better. It's also going to allow for shallower depth of field in some instances. You can go wider technically, like get sort of better quality with really wide angle stuff with full frame. But APS-C, you're cropped in more. You can get, higher quality super telephoto stuff.
I mean, that's what I always say, but then you always talk about how most modern full frame cameras have an option to just crop in while you're shooting, so
I would say, like, if you're just starting photography and you're not sure if you want it to be a hobby or a job, I think APS-C is perfectly fine, and it's great, and it's such a good sensor to learn on, especially if you don't want to drop the amount of money the full frame camera might be, especially in the mirrorless side. That being said, I had the Fuji system for years and was shooting weddings on it, and it was fine, especially smaller weddings with a lot of available light. The second I started second shooting for someone with a full frame camera, and I was getting myself into situations that were like super dark, and I couldn't keep up with the A shooter, I was like, that's it. I have to like graduate and get my full frame on, just so that I have the ability to be a professional in a situation where I may need the more light because I'm getting paid to do it. That was my reasoning. I loved the APS-C cameras because they're lightweight. The lenses were cheaper most of the time, and the quality of image is really just as good. I mean, we just saw from those mobile phones that they're taking great images. Yeah. So what it comes down to is, what kind of photographer are you going to be? What's your journey like? Are you getting paid to do stuff? What's your artistic style? Photography is great. It's art and it's fun and it's beautiful, but it's also technical and expensive and gear heavy. So you have to just try and balance both of those things as you're coming up. And so it's really great question.
Someone mentioned like the point, they don't see the point unless you're printing, and that is a good point. Like maybe printing, you get a little bit sharpness, detail,
a little bit more,
it
but
just depends. Maybe like
I think
a billboard.
I think the printing was in response to someone said, why would one need 40 megapixel resolution nowadays?
Oh, right.
I think you're talking about resolution.
So So here's let me bring up my photo. And I've been trying to get, that classic hummingbird photo for a long time. And this is still not it. But, this is shot with the
I still haven't done it.
XT4. And this is mostly uncropped and then cropped in. And yeah, for sharing on Instagram, this is great, right?
Yeah.
For printing out, I wish I had a little bit more resolution. This was shot at a super low ISO, still getting a little bit of noise in there. Maybe a full frame would have been better.
And for shooting, like, you can shoot a 10 megapixel camera, and if you're just posting online or even for a portfolio like that or sharing digitally, like, it's going to be fine. 10 megapixels is enough. But the second you start talking about printing or wanting to, take a shot like that and crop in after the fact, the photo you get with 10 megapixels is the photo you get. There's not a whole lot you can do in terms of anything after the fact.
Yeah.
And some people subscribe to the photo you take in the camera is the photo you're getting, and that's what it is. And it's a very purist mentality, and I appreciate it. I just bought a 100 megapixel camera. I'm never going to print a photo for the side of a skyscraper. But when I'm traveling,
that might happen one day.
Maybe. Okay. But when I'm traveling, I can bring one lens that's like equivalent to a 35 millimeter, and I can crop the crap out of it after the fact. I can do a lot after the fact. If I'm not going to carry all the lenses, so that no matter the situation, I have what I need. I can travel with a small, lightweight, compact prime lens and get composition how I want it, but also know that I have space to play with after the fact. I also think in terms of clarity, like, I don't know, I'm able to zoom in quite a bit or print it, and there's like the micro details are there. It's so crispy, and for that, I like it. But to each their own,
I mean, my everyday camera
and composing after is not the way to go. So
my everyday camera is a full frame. The Leica Q2 is a full frame fixed lens. So I have a 28 millimeter on that camera all the time, always. But it's a 47 megapixel camera, so I can always crop in when I need to. And that's the only camera and lens I carry with me every day, everywhere I go.
This is going to be the age-old question we'll answer again. But while we've been talking about this, so many people have been signing up for Plus. There was a question, is it going to always be free?
Fantastic.
As of now, if the community loves it, if we can serve you as we want, it's going to be free to join. So thank you to all these latest members: Tamara, Bob, Unique, Justina, Nancy, Shubham, Akia,
wow, look at all these new people.
All these people for joining right now. No strings attached. It's free. It's just another place to get better support. And
free.
The thing about Plus that we've been doing for the past 6 or 7 months with the private group is that we have built some great friendships, actual friendships with the members. And so that's what we're hoping this to be, a little bit tighter knit group, people who are serious about photography, ready to be engaged, and you're going to get what you get out of it, what you put in. So we really want people who are wanting to share, but also share their own photography, ask questions, but also to support other people.
Help each other. Yeah.
So yeah, thank you everyone who's signed up. It'll be a lot better place than the Facebook group for getting support. Again, Facebook group's not going away. If you love Facebook, it's there. It's a great place to get support from other students and post your photos and questions and all that. But what else? Yeah. What other questions do we have? Did we have any pop up?
I just want to add to that really quick too, of like the space is really to have that communal conversation. And just with like that last question, like, no, you should never get high res like there's no point in megapixel, or there is. Like, we want to have those discussions on there, but also like we're each sharing our perspective for photography. We each find the tools that we want to use and are doing that kind of thing. So like it's just about having those conversations, and there's no one answer for any of these questions. I hope everyone knows that, like, which is the camera I should buy. They're all great cameras. Like, how much money you want to spend? Like, there's so many ways to answer that. And so sharing your side of it is wonderful, but also knowing that there's other perspectives. And that's what I think we've tried to really foster in that Photo and Friends Plus community,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
I hope we can continue to build. Yeah,
And that
just want to say
that
that a
plays,
little bit.
yeah, it's great because one of the questions obviously we're seeing is like, what camera should I buy? I'm a beginner. And the whole point of Plus is that you can be there and share your story so that we can help you figure that out. Because honestly, like, there is no one camera that you should buy as a beginner. There just isn't. And if there was, it would be very popular.
Yeah.
Like Sam said, how much money do you have? What's your photographic journey look like? What are you trying to take photos of? These are all variables that go into what camera you should buy. Most of these companies are all going to have really great cameras for $300, $200, $600, $4,000. It just depends on, like, you know, what you like the look of, how it feels in your hands, maybe what lenses you already have. But as long as you stick to, you know, Nikon, Canon, Fuji, Panasonic, Olympus, you know, all the camera companies
Yeah.
that are popular, you will be fine. It's more about learning how to see with your eye and figure that out, and then you can get into the gear of really pushing yourself as an artist and a photographer.
Yeah.
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 Awesome. Quick note. So there are people watching this on the Facebook group, on our other channels. Moving forward, I'm not sure if we are going to cross stream to all the platforms. So you want to make sure that you are subscribed on YouTube to the Photography and Friends channel.
Yeah, that'll be the main one.
If you're watching this there, just click the subscribe button or go to that link down below, photographyandfriends.com /live. That's where we'll be consistently streaming every week. But we've got some good questions.
Yeah.
Shutterbug Denise gave us a college level final question about color theory.
Where's
can you
that?
summarize complementary and primary colors and how to adjust?
Oh,
the
yeah.
hue?
That's
I shoot black and white, so I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
That's a great advanced level question. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm wondering, Denise, like, in terms of photography, are you wondering about like color theory and what colors go together, or are you talking about like editing, if like a color is off, how to adjust the hue? I don't know. Or Sam, answer the question.
So primary colors, right, are red, blue, yellow. Those are the primaries.
Check.
And then you have complementary colors. So if you put these in, you know, the circles, like you have those three, and then red and blue make a magenta color, and red and yellow make an orange color, and then yellow and blue make a green color. Those are your complementaries. Those are secondary colors that complement one another. So all those, you know, any of those colors aside from across from each other will complement one another. Purple and yellow look really good together. Orange and blue look really good together. Green and red look good together. There's the reason that holidays have these sort of colors. That's the reason nature has these colors. It gets, yeah. Anyways, so when you're doing photography, if you want to have something stand out, you want to have a lot of sort of complementary colors in one area. So you have maybe you have a bunch of cool colors, and then you have someone in red. And that person in red is going to stand out because they're not within that same little, you know, section. They're going to stand out, be very different. You can build color palettes in your photography so that everything feels the same. If you're out in nature, do you want your model to show up wearing green? Well, if they wear green and they have tan colored skin, and there's dirt and there's green trees and there's dark, you know, brown bark, they're going to sort of disappear into that scenery, which is fine if that's the look you want. Or you have them wear yellow or red or orange, and they'll pop out. So when you're getting into color theory and all this stuff, that's how you sort of think of it. Now, of course, you can also in post change their green dress to be any color you want. You can change your skin to be any color. You can change the trees to be any color. And so you can start playing with those hues to make the green a little more bluish tinted. You know, it can be very subtle. And by making it more blue tinted, it helps, you know, certain things stand out. Whereas if it was really green and saturated, it might, you know, disappear. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you
No,
guys
I
think?
think
Is
that's
that like
great.
That was great, Sam.
That's great.
No.
And if you're
That was
wondering like how to change those, I mean, we have Lightroom tutorials on my YouTube channel or in the Lightroom course that go over exactly how to do that. And most editing apps have that kind of thing as well. That option for changing the hue of the whole color range or just specific colors. But we've got a lot of questions, so let me pop
Let's
up.
keep going.
So Joanne asked, will we do virtual studio tours? How your setup? I would love to do that, and
Ooh.
I just moved to a new home and I'm setting up my office studio, so I will definitely do that and post it to my personal YouTube channel. And Will,
Yeah.
you should do the same, because you should see this photo that Will sent us about his
You can throw
setup
it up if you want.
today. He looks like a legit YouTuber
He looks
over
like a
here.
coder.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's kind of
gosh.
hard to
Well,
see.
I've been working on, this is a plug, but I've been trying to finish our wedding update course. So
Yeah.
we have a wedding photography course on Udemy and on Video School, and we're just updating it with all the new things. And so I'm doing a lot of post section on it. So I have all the screens and stuff.
Yeah.
I would also love, with all of us, and I know it requires us getting into the same location together, which is sometimes easier said than done. But I would also love to do some workshops where we're in the studio with one of
Yep.
us working, taking photos, show
Absolutely.
strobe setups, so natural light setups. I mean, it's all in our courses, but to do sort of more engaged workshops, I don't know. If you're into the idea, let us know. It's something
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do, but we just have to organize our calendars.
Yeah.
Um,
Here's a question. Uli
anyways,
asked about, can you give emotional support before the event photography? Absolutely. That's what we're here to do in the Plus
And it's
community.
needed.
That we literally have been doing that with some
Yeah.
of our members. So that's a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
question. Let's see. We've got more questions. I know.
I love it.
The AI question.
Oh, the AI
From
question.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
How soon will AI make a real impact on photography as a profession?
I was just not studying, but I've been looking into the Sony camera and learning about the new AI in Sony as far as focus goes, and how it's like basically being taught how to like look at backs and airplanes and people crossing frames, and as far as focus goes. Now that's just
Yeah.
one level of AI.
I mean, I think that's where, I think that's where AI within the camera is going to help us, and getting focus and things
Yeah.
like that. I mean, people are worried about AI replacing like artists and stuff, and it really is interesting hearing about all these stories right now, because in the next 10 years, who knows what things are going to be, what jobs are going to be replaced. But I'm going to say this, and maybe someday, but no robot's going to be there and take your wedding photos or recreate your own wedding photos for you without having a photographer there taking those photos, right? Like, you're going to want a photographer. Maybe it will be a robot someday, but
Maybe I could control a robot to do the work, and I could just sit in the back.
I mean, I say this, but now I'm like, yeah, it's like, well, you're going to need a photographer to take your headshot, but maybe AI someday will be like, I'll just scan all of the photos of you and recreate your face in the perfect headshot.
Yeah. I think the AI undoubtedly will get to that level. I think you could be like, hey, like here's my Facebook profile, create a timeline of me from growing up to me as an old person. And they'll just automate and make fake images of you based off of some images of you. Like I have no doubt it won't get to that level. But when I've had interactions with people with my camera, whether it's at concerts or whether it's a portrait or whatever, and I take that image of them and then I print that or I share that with them, I don't think that will ever go away. There's no reason that would go away. Now, mass media wise, will there be fake images of people? Will there be all this stuff? Of course.
Companies
Like we're
will
already
use
seeing
fake images to
Yeah.
create their content. But as a
Our weekly challenges are just going to be filled with AI photos. You know, we won't know any different.
That's the point I want to make, is like, no one needs to go take a photo of a sunset again, because there's trillions of photos out there. But the point of the art of photography is to do it yourself and to go through that process. So,
and have that memory for yourself.
yeah, and
and
AI can create already probably a more beautiful sunset photo than I could ever take in whatever location around the world. But the experience of doing it yourself, I think that's where, as artists, where it won't compete.
Yeah.
Good topic though.
It is a good topic.
Jan asks, I have only an iPhone 8 Plus for now. Can I participate in the challenges? Absolutely. Yes. Any camera,
100%.
you can take great photos and yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Ooh, this
Ooh,
is
any ideas to write a pitch? Oh, sorry. Okay, do that one.
sorry, I brought up one. How to master the tone curve. Ooh,
Well,
that's I think how to master that's a hard
Practice.
question, but let's talk about how we each use the tone curve because I think we use it differently.
practice.
I use it for like final contrast edits. I don't use the
Contrast.
tone curve to like make my initial exposure adjustments. Um,
I do. I use the tone curve way more in black and white than I do color.
Mhm.
And most of the time, because my black and whites, I want to be crunchier, and I just have an easier time controlling the contrast versus the contrast slider that's just like blah 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 blah.
mhm.
The tone curve will let you really target it a little bit more. And I think Sam is phenomenal about using it, especially in video, which I don't know, a lot of people know, but uh, he's probably got
That's a
some
whole nother
better
world.
ways of explaining it for sure.
It really just because and like with black and white, right? Like black and white, you're just highlights and midtones and shadows. Like you're not worrying about colors as much. So when it comes to the tone curve, if you have a really contrasty image, you probably don't need to use that tone curve that much.
Yeah.
You're going very quickly, like how Phil looks right now. If you use a tonal curve, it would really quickly, his skin would be overexposed and the shadows would be gone.
Mm-hmm.
So subtle. If you have a really flat image where everything's the same exposure, you can probably use it a little bit more. But
Mm-hmm.
each image is unique. And I think the main thing is like, do it subtly, go play with the highlights, go play with the black levels, whites and shadows and contrast, all that stuff too, and then come back to it. And like, I just think it's sometimes I see people like, oh, it needs to be an S curve, and they do this big S curve. I'm like, it doesn't need to be that. You can just slowly drop the shadows
Mm-hmm.
and just do that, and that can sometimes make it, an image look great. But it's practice, and I think subtlety is my biggest. You don't need to do a whole lot with it. You can just little drags up and down.
Show
Yeah.
me the way, Shmizu, says a day in the field.
Okay, we got a good
We got some
question.
good questions. Yeah, let's
Okay,
keep
this
going.
one's good. So, do you have any photography cheat sheets to make photography easier? This question actually.
That's a
So,
pretty good question.
do we have
That's
cheat
to you,
sheets?
Will.
All right, so you should go over to photographyandfriends.com. And let's see, let me get to photographyandfriends.com because first we have a start here page and it has a bunch of free lessons that have like, it's not a downloadable cheat sheet, but it's super good for learning the basics.
The podcast too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
The podcast is a
Way
great
ahead of
place to start the Photography for Beginners podcast here. Another thing to do, obviously, is check out our courses. The masterclass does have like a bunch of downloads, cheat sheets, a full book. Let me grab this.
Oh no, I'm by myself. How'd that happen? Oh wait, he's
This
back.
it's a print version, but this whole entire book is, I guess, a downloadable cheat sheet, you could call it, and you get it for free if you join the photography masterclass. And so many resources. Yeah.
Resources, but also like honestly, like practice. And that's why cell phones are so great, because you may not need to practice your exposure with your phone, but when you're just sitting waiting for something, take out your camera and compose a shot.
Yep.
See what it's like to compose where you're at, see what you can do to change your eye. Photography, like any other art, is not different. Like if you're a painter, you need to paint. If you're a baker, you need to bake. If you're a photographer, you need to photograph. Like you need to just practice, even if those images aren't going to show up somewhere, or if it's just on your phone.
Yeah.
And what taught me something when I was starting early, because I started on film, was if you really want to learn exposure quickly, well, not quickly, it's going to take time, is look at every setting that your camera takes, even if it's on auto, and write it down. And then look at the image and review it. Literally write down your ISO, your f-stop, and your shutter, every photo that you take in a little book, and analyze that and do it over and over and over again. And eventually you will start to learn this language. But if you don't practice the language, you're not going to be able to be proficient at it and quick at it. So there's no real like quick and easy tip other than like you just have to keep practicing the language, I think.
Yeah, totally. This is a good question, and one I covered very in depth during a workshop that we did for the Plus members on
Ooh,
landscape
that's a good one.
photography. That I
Yeah.
also created a sort of mini course, and I'm going to post the link with a discount coupon to that course right here for anyone interested.
There you
But
go.
the question
What a nice
about
thing.
focusing for landscape photography, and here's the course on Udemy, but there's a specific lesson focusing basics in landscape photography and advanced focusing techniques in landscape photography, because there's a few different rules of thumb about where you should focus, and it's not necessarily out in the distance, and or directly on your subject, especially if you're trying to get that super deep depth of focus from like maybe if you have a subject in the foreground and the background, it's somewhere in the middle. There's also, a beginner might say, well, I want a ton in focus, so I'm going to crank up my f-stop to f22. But in fact, you start to get a little bit of what's called diffraction, where the edges of lines aren't as sharp when you're using such a high f-stop. And so for landscape photos, you actually might want to drop down to like an f8 to f16 or something, and you'll get sharp images, super deep depth of field as well. But definitely check out that little mini course if you're
It's a good
interested.
question.
Yeah.
There's some more.
All
Let's
right,
keep going.
more questions. I was going from like oldest to newest, but now I'm going backwards. Constant light versus flash strobes for headshots.
Ooh, I love this
Which do you
question.
prefer? Will.
I'd say video wise, obviously, like constant light is great. I think as you're beginning out, if you can get a constant light, it's a little bit easier to see what the light's doing. You can like model it live because it's constant and you can see it. The strobe, however, I found is a lot more powerful. So if you're getting to the point where you want to shoot with a like higher f-stop, like an f8 or an f11, having a very powerful strobe is a little bit easier to do that with, especially with a higher shutter, depending on your sync speed. I just got into this. I was shooting, I think I said earlier, with this old Hasselblad, and it was so nice being able to use a high-powered strobe and still be able to shoot at an f8, which is a lot harder with constant light because they have to be very powerful. But I think constant light's a really good way to start out if you're beginning, because you can actually see and shape the light live. And that's a really good way to start.
Sorry, I was like paying attention to other questions. Did you mention just portability and stuff like a flash?
Oh yeah. Strobes are going to be easier to move around. Flashes are going to be easier to like pack up, battery operated.
Yeah.
Constant light, you're probably going to have to plug into a wall unless you have a fat battery. But at that point, everything's going to be much bigger. It's going to get hotter if you're in a small space, like an office or something.
Yeah.
And it's not LED. It's going to get hot. Even LEDs get warm at times. So, there's like pluses and minuses. It's the same thing. But I think on the learning side, constant light's great. But as you advance a strobe and stuff, if you can start learning with that, I think is also a benefit.
And flashes there's a question of flash during the day indoor. You can use flashes in direct sunlight and compete with the sun even. I mean,
You sure can.
there's so much more power than a constant light source. You can do a lot more with them, but it is like Will's saying, it's kind of hard to know, like, if I set this here, there's no light hitting my model until I take the photo. And so you're working off of the image versus looking at a light and moving it around and seeing it how it's gonna look. You have to take the photo to understand that, which I think you learn over time. But
practice.
Chris asks, will you have in-person events? Dude, this has been a dream of ours.
How many people would show up? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know if you would come and where you would come in the United States or beyond. Let's just put it out in the universe that by the end of our lives, I would like to have an in-person photography and friends.
It's going to happen. We're going to have like a meetup or a workshop or like a photo walk.
Yeah.
or something.
The problem is
Where would we
the
do
three of
it?
us are in
Like
different locations now.
I mean, we'd have to do a Southern California one, I think, to start. Or we could just meet somewhere randomly in the
like
country.
Grand Canyon
We just like
or
measure in the
uh,
middle from the three of us. Probably Colorado?
Oklahoma.
No, Utah? Zion
Utah.
National Park?
Ooh, Zion. There we go. Who's coming to Zion?
We would love
We
to
want
do
to know.
in person.
We need to know who's going to show up. Yeah, Diamond Bar. That's where we should do it.
There we go.
Wendy
I used to work in
asks,
Diamond Bar.
what kind and color is your studio?
Image streaming,
Not
creating
sure.
new space.
Wendy,
Also,
what do you mean kind and color? Are you talking about the lights or the background? Or I'm gonna do a full studio tour once it's all done, so stay tuned for that. Shout out to Jose Ibarra, who is a big fan. We love you, and thanks for watching.
Jose Ibarra.
Jeremy Uli, thank you so much for being here. Give us a chat if you're still with us. Just want to give some shout outs.
Come to
But
Sicily.
so many good people here today. What other questions? I'm scrolling backwards.
There's one about portraiture. What was it? What's most important for portraiture, the lens or the camera?
The lens. Excuse me. Got excited about
Careful.
that.
Oh, absolutely. The lens. Yeah.
What's your favorite portrait lens? This is my question.
Well, on my Fuji X-T4, it's my 56 millimeter 1.2.
Right.
Yeah.
What's your
depends on
favorite f-stop to shoot at?
Ooh.
Probably like a 2.8 on that or 2.
Okay. So like an 85 millimeter equivalent on a full frame.
Yeah. I mean,
Shooting
I would
at
try. I
f2.
try to open up as much as possible. To be honest, I probably try to shoot an f1.2 if I could.
Right.
But
Right. Will?
It depends on the situation I'm in, but for most of my headshots and studio stuff, I'd say an 85 at f4, full frame. However, there have been situations where I've been doing weddings and I can't get off my 24 to 70 in time. So 70 at my 24 to 70 on the Leica is chef's kiss.
all right, but I've been editing Will. This is a great question. I've been editing Will's wedding photography course, or our course, shot by Sam, taught by Will, edited by Phil. And you have some really great lessons on showing the difference between the 24 to 70 portraits and the 80. And like, there's no doubt that the 80 is better in terms of,
but there are
artistic
times
quality.
where you just can't.
It's not bad. You're not taking bad
Get
photos,
there.
Will.
Oh, thank you.
24 to 70.
I'm all nervous. Phil's critiquing my wedding photography.
It's just that you can see like a real difference.
You can see the difference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sam loves that because Sam hates that I shoot with that 24 to 70 all the time.
Can we throw out the idea that we had about the wedding photography course, like boot camp? So this is a update that is to our regular wedding photography course on Udemy, on all the platforms. And if you're a member of that course, you're going to get it. And someday we're going to update all those courses. But we were wondering, would people be interested in, if you're interested in wedding photography, doing like a 4-week or a 2-month boot camp with Will, where you get early access to the course, but also like private weekly live streams, live sessions, like on a Zoom call with Will, and maybe like a private space in the Plus community to like really help you out. And of course it would cost more, maybe like $100, $200, something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe capped at a certain number of students, but we're trying to figure out ways to serve people in the ways that you want. And we're going to update that course on Udemy, and you can buy it for like $15 just to get the course. But if you want extra support from Will, like to get started as a wedding photographer, maybe that works. So let us know in the comments if you'd be interested in that.
It'd be sort of a hybrid between Photo Friends Plus and my one-on-one coaching that we do, but it'd be targeted towards wedding photography. And for like, a month, basically we do Zooms where we can like interact and really target what you guys are looking at as far as like wedding photography. But I'm curious if people would be interested in that or not. There's a big shift from like a hobbyist photographer getting into photography to like photographing weddings. Like it's a big step. However, within weddings, there's a lot of really good singular things like portraits, group photos, event
Mhm.
stuff,
Mhm.
inserts, close-ups. Weddings basically encompass every part of photography, so it'd be worth
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if people be into it.
We're already at
Yeah.
the top of the hour. We have a few questions. Are
We
you
can
guys
go
good
more if you
to
guys want.
go a little
Yeah,
longer?
Sam
Yeah.
might have to.
I got one for you. Which
Oh
lens for sports, photos, and wildlife?
no, you just.
We're getting a new lens, everyone, and
Sam's just
I
asking
think
this
this
because
would
they
be the
just announced, yeah, Sigma just announced this art DNG lens that's a 60 to 600 f4 to 6.3. Is that right? Don't choke. Don't get excited.
Yeah.
And that I don't normally shoot wildlife. Wow, he loves this. I don't normally shoot wildlife or sports, but that lens just looks awesome, and it's an L mount, which they haven't made one for my system that I use yet. And so, yeah, I think the 70 to 200 for sports stuff and wildlife is great. However,
Not
getting
long
something
enough.
longer is really going to be
Yeah.
a bigger benefit for you.
Dude,
Something
yeah,
closer to like
even on
400,
my
600.
crop, I got the 100 to 400, and that's great. I mean, that's kind of like Fuji's flagship
Yeah, the 50 to
wildlife
230,
sports, but
50 to 230 is great too, but really getting over 300
mhm.
is going to be a
I think
huge
even
benefit.
over, yeah, that 400 to
Over
600
400.
range is going to
Yeah.
enable you a lot when it comes to sports or wildlife. 200s, I love 200, but it's not for a wedding where you can get
Yeah.
within range, yes, but if there's something way off in the distance, it's not enough.
Yeah.
Or shoot high megapixel, you know?
Yeah.
Eh.
It's not the same though, but yeah, but it helps for sure.
It helps. It
All right,
helps.
this is a good question. B Gonzalez asks, if we're not interested in photographing people, what kind of career opportunities are there? This is like a really good question. Um,
Real estate.
Real estate
Yeah.
photography, product photography, stock photography. I think real estate photography, product, those are things that you might be able to more easily get into.
Yeah.
I think it's easiest to start making money by photographing people, because like doing family portraits, wedding photography, like that, especially family portraits, like a lot of our students and us, we started making money from just taking pictures of people. I think like doing like landscape photography as a career, that's going to be difficult, but there's people that do it, Nat Geo photographers are taking pictures
It
of
takes a lot longer to
animals,
make
wildlife.
money from that.
Yeah.
You can sell prints of your landscapes and stuff, and that's wonderful, but it takes a lot more. I think to really make a career, uh, reach out to various real estate agents or, whole like companies, and I don't know, maybe set up your home or your friends' homes or your family's homes to look like they're staged, and then take really nice photos of them so you can create a portfolio and then share those with a real estate agent and be like, hey, I can do this. Because that's one mark, even if home buying and selling is up or down or whatever it is, there's always going to be a need for that. And if you can get in with people, you can get a decent amount of work for that.
Yeah.
um, and you just need a wide angle lens, really, and maybe a drone. Um,
Questions. Bob asked, "Do you have a course on camera flashes?" We touch on it in the masterclass, but no, we need to do this
I
because
need to
people
do
ask
it.
about this all the
I
time.
I started to do this with this portrait session I did with the Hasselblad. I'm really starting to develop a workshop for it, and I think it's time to just write down a full course for it.
Yeah, yeah, we'll do it.
And let's talk
Jeremy
about that after this call.
asks if any of us have a drone license. I do not.
Negative.
I do not. I know people that have gotten them. I don't know how difficult it really was, but Will and I had a drone, like a professional drone, and we very quickly realized that we do not want to be professional drone pilots.
Yeah.
How many times have we each crashed a drone?
Sam did when
Sam,
you guys were
Sam's aware.
shooting a
Yeah.
documentary for me.
Wait, there was a question that came up earlier that we didn't get to that I thought was really
Good
good.
sidestep.
It was, or maybe you guys covered it when it's gone, but it was asking about writing pitch emails and any suggestions on
Ooh.
how to do that.
What I saw,
I was
what
just
was that
wondering.
referring to though? What kind of pitch emails?
It was a while ago. I think it just said that. I mean, oh yeah, any ideas to write a pitch email? That's all it says. I was wondering, have you guys ever cold emailed someone, like just like, hey, I want to work with you?
I mean, I
No.
do it with video school online, like trying to reach out to people who want to be co-instructors or be on my podcast, but not like specifically with photography stuff. I mean, it's so hard, like, because how many emails do I get that are people pitching stuff to me, and it's like
Yeah.
I just don't want to deal with it. So
Right. Right.
obviously you want to make it personal. You don't want it to look like a canned email that you're sending to 1,000 people. And I think people are pretty smart at that. So giving compliments specific to that person so that they know you did your research or truly do follow that person or want to work with them or whatever it is, I think is
Pitch
like
email for food
first thing.
and product photography. I think a
Mm.
big thing is showing your work and making sure that it is up to par with what they would need. And I did see a question way earlier that kind of applies to this. Someone took like 800 photos, and how do you get down to like the ones that you want to just show
Mm.
because you're editing too much? When you're pitching someone and when you're building a portfolio on a website, you're building a website, or you're showing someone your work, you really got to nail it down to like the top of the line photos, like the cream of the crop, sort of like those are the ones you want to be showing. And with a pitch email, you don't want to overwhelm someone with too much. I mean, honestly, like 3 photos in an email is probably plenty. On a website,
Mm-hmm.
10 even. You could get down to like even 1 or 2 really, really good photos, as long as they are of like good quality.
Yeah.
Um,
You need that showstopper that's the first one, and to really show off
a good
what
way.
you're able to do. But also, if you're trying to get someone to click a link to your website, I think there's a balance between writing too little and too much. Like if you write too little, you seem like a bot, and no one's going to click that link. But you need to sort of share a little bit about you, your interests, and why you're doing it, but not get so lengthy that they don't read the whole thing. Um,
Yeah.
it is hard. The other thing is you can go in person to places, like for food and product photography. If you can get physically in touch with a place,
Yeah.
um, and go and be like, hey, I'm a photographer, here's some of my work, I'd love to do some food photography as you're a bakery or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
um,
And
and sort
maybe
of,
just do a sample yourself for
yeah.
free, like not even necessarily say, hey, I'll do it for free, but just order some food, try to take some nice photos and say, hey, here's a great photo, like you can use it on your Instagram or website. Would you like me to do more or whatever? And then I feel like that's the way to start any photo or any type of business, is like getting involved with your local community. And if you're known as the local photographer who does all the restaurant food photography,
Mm-hmm.
that's a great way to get started. So let's
Yeah.
cover like 2 more questions maybe, and then we'll call it quits. And if you have more questions, if we don't get to your questions, post it to Photography and Friends Plus, and
yeah, join the community.
we'll try to answer it. It's free if we didn't mention that. If you're watching the replay,
It's
join.
free.
We've got a lot of new members since we started going live. So thank you to all the members who have joined today, right now. But okay, questions. What is the best website for portfolio?
Ooh.
Adobe Portfolio is really cool if you're using Adobe Lightroom because it syncs with all that and makes it really easy. Format, I've really enjoyed using. I think it's really good. But also Squarespace, Wix, all these sort of simple website builders have great gallery options as well. So it depends on what things you're using, but
Yeah.
those are all ones I'd recommend.
Yeah. And while we're doing our last question, if you're listening still live right now, let us know
Thank you.
what.
Yeah. Thanks for
Yeah,
sticking
thank you
around.
for being here. Let us know what's your favorite part about these live streams. If you've seen other people do live streams like this, like what
What do you want more of?
you want to see, because we're kind of like
Yeah.
refreshing. We're going to be doing this every week. So we will be back next Thursday, I believe, for sure. as a member, if you join the community on Plus, you'll see the live sessions every week
Oh, wait.
scheduled out, and you'll
With the
we'll
links.
yeah, like if we have any changes or whatever, you'll see it there. That's probably the best. Last questions. Did you guys see any questions you want to cover, or I'll just bring up a random one?
Go for it. I mean, there's quite a few that.
How do you create watermark signatures for your photos? If you're asking about technically how to put them on, Lightroom has that option in the
Lightroom.
export settings, and you can just add text based or image based. But in terms of actually creating them, I would probably use Photoshop or something to actually create like a signature based one, or like a graphic. But I guess it depends on what you're asking about. Like, how do you design one, or how do you actually technically just add them? And in our Lightroom course, we cover how to add watermarks to your photos.
Will there be a replay?
Yes, you can always
Yes.
watch these replays on the YouTube channel.
On whatever channel you're watching on,
wherever
really,
you're
right?
watching it, it'll stay live. So yeah, I know people are tuning in from all around the world. People are at work, school, whatever. So yes, replays are live. The big news today is that we are opening up Photography and Friends Plus, our private community, to everyone for free. So there's no strings attached. It's just a better place, better way to
Connect with you guys.
Connect
Yeah.
and learn. So we're going to be focusing a lot on that. If you're on Facebook, that's totally fine. Follow us on Instagram. We are relaunching the weekly photo challenges. And so here you can see Plus right now, just for those of you interested. We are launching the photo challenges. So we're going to be doing these every week. You can do it for fun on your own. You could post it to Instagram, tag us, Facebook group, or whatever. But we're going to be pulling photos from the challenges here in Plus to critique at our weekly live streams. So the first one is patterns. So go out, capture those patterns. We've got one person so far who's submitted a photo. So go do that. And any other updates, last things, guys?
I'd say, whatever channel you're watching this on, like. It helps us out a lot. Subscribe to all our channels and Instagrams. That's super helpful. Facebook group is not shutting down. It'll still be there for everyone. It's just so overwhelming for us to, interact with everyone there.
Yep.
But yeah, thanks for watching everything. And I'm pretty pumped to get more into Plus, and also the supporters section, if you guys feel like helping us out.
Yes.
Not necessary, but it is there for us to sort of prioritize if you want to support us.
Yep, totally.
Yeah. And also, if you join the Photo Friends Plus community, would also love any feedback on these live streams. In there's different spaces, but just to sort of share anything that you want to see more of, hear more of, get us to do more of, anything like that. Appreciate the support, and thanks for being here.
Yep. Awesome. Lots of fun stuff in 2023 happening. And we'll see you here next week live, and in between in the classes, and on Plus. Go watch a class. Go learn something new and practice. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a great
See you, everyone.
day.